afternoon, everybody. Welcome to another stream. I have made a little bit of off-stream progress on the Canberra Bomber. In terms of just focusing on just getting some textures and all that stuff done. I won't say it's perfect, but hey, it's a start. And there's still plenty to do with all the texturing. But today, because I said the other day, we'll look at doing the animations. So we are going to go and do that today. So to get started, I am going to go and get the right folder. And we are going to copy, I'm going to copy the Civ 707. I'm going to plonk it all in here. We're going to rename animations Canberra Bomber. I will save that for the moment. I gotta go to the INI file. Let's go and find animations. Animations is right here. Paste that in there, and that's step 1 done. Step 2 is we need to open the animation file and have a look at what we need. So for aircraft, there is normally a few little set animations that they have for various requirements. So say for example, if you're doing carrier landing, there's a hook animation trigger that only activates if you're doing a carrier landing. Or potentially normal landings. I haven't actually checked behaviors. If you're doing a VTOL, it's going to look for thrust vectoring in the animation files. So yeah. So today, well, we'll be doing gear extension, gear retraction, flaps, and like for takeoff and landing. Generally speaking, I normally leave them about the same, but in real life they do have different angles that they have them set to. But I won't be going too extensive on all that. Canberra's all set up. She's got all of her, stuff. Still not quite perfect with the placement of the flaps, but you know, beggars can't be choosers. Oh, and we are going to be animating the bomb bay door, but that is going to be pretty easy. So to get started, we are going to go through all this, and I don't need all this stuff. Like I do, but I don't. I only need one of these. So you we're going to just delete that. The animations today are essentially, they're just going to be 2 phases. They're all more or less just going to be 90-degree turns. I have done some very complicated animations before in the past, which has all sorts of different movements. My Ivan Russian transport, which has the deployable SPAs on it, they go through a very long sequence of animation movements. The assault cargo ship that I did, that has a lot of different movements and parenting placements and lots of complicated animations. Whereas this one, this is going to be pretty straightforward. in terms of its movements. So for the most part, we are going to be wanting, we're going to just go and say rotation Z, Z1, that'll do for now, and it's going to go and start from 0, go to 90, and that's going to be our first one. And we're going to do rotation Z2, this one's going to be at negative. So, idea is we'll be setting like a landing gear to go from the 0 point up and backwards. And I'll also add that. Copy that. And we're going to have our close. Okay, that will handle pretty much everything but the nose wheel. So to get started, we'll go to our gear extension panel. We're going to need this, and we're going to need our submodel section. So when it comes to animations, this is how you set up your sequences, and sometimes you're going to need to go and set up timings as well. So I will probably have to copy some of these and change them, because right now they're set to go from their start point is 0 and the finish point is at 5 seconds. And you can delay that. You can go and set the start point as 5 seconds, so and then set that like to 10 or whatever. It's just saying that the movement's going to be happening over 5 seconds, and if I'm going to do a sequence of events, which is what I'm going to have to do today with, like, say, the gear doors are going to want to open first, and then the gears are going to come down, in that situation, I'm going to have to go and play around with some delays. But, yeah, so, to extend the gear, so sequence 1, that is going to be our first animation point. So this is our animation section here. This defines everything that happens in that animation, and then this is our overall sequence of events that happens. And it'll go and check down below for the points, as well as all the other bits. So next bit is we're going to say left gear, that one's going to be right gear, and there it is. Cool. So that's those gear bays done. Next up, this will be for one side, and I'll work out the other side in a second. So let's just go and model, boom. Okay, now for the next part. So this is going to be going from 0 to 90. So swings like that, and that one's going to be going from 0 to 90, so it'll swing like that. So, the important thing to remember is that um, even though I named everything left and right, we're going to have to reverse. I named everything left and right in here, but when it gets into Unity, it's back to front. There's a mirror swap. So, looking at this, so that was it right? So that's our left. So we want our left gear to go up. So it is, that's the Z1, and the right gear is going to be Z2. And that door is going to be Z2, and that one's going to be Z1. So we can just save that, go in here, respawn, and hit play. Okay. Pretty much works as expected. I'll just have to do something with the gear. And that door is going to need to open a bit more. Alright, easy enough. So let's get these back up, and let's just get a few more of these done. That's there. And I want you to go there. And they're just back to front. Alright, and then we want to do nose gear. So I just want to put the space there so it's easy for me to see. And I want front door and space that. Door 1, front door 2. Which is just backwards. And I also need one of these. This one is going to be called X. nose gear. So front gear. Front gear, and it's gonna be so X. And silly me, I forgot. Gotta change these. So I'll have to shift the position of the nose gear just forward a little bit. And let's go back to the animations. So we need I need a 3 and a 4, and they're gonna go out to, let's just say, you're gonna go out to 110, and you're gonna go out to negative 110. And it is for door 2. So let's go 3 and 4. Never mind, I got it backwards. You go back to that, go back to that, and you are gonna go 3, and you are gonna go to 4. Okie doke. And I can delete all of those. Because that's pretty much all that done. The only other thing I'm going to do is that one, we're going to call it close, and we'll start at 90 and finish at 0. And just make sure we do the same thing for these. So keep things nice and easy. Just copy all of these, paste them into here, and now all I gotta do is just change everything to close. It's not so bad. Oh dear. Alright, next part. Let's just get all these bits. Let's get the wheels all fixed up. So, we're going to reverse this. And I'll get front gear done. And we're going to take this one. And I'm going to put gear rotation in front of it. And we will start at -90, 0. And we'll go say, change it out to 7 and wait to 4. And let's go back up to our gear extending. And these are going to be called gear and there it is. And we just need to put a delay on that one. We'll say 4 seconds there. And have you finish at 7. And we're going to also increase those. Yeah, that'll do. And now it just goes into reverse. And in this situation, it will be, these are just going to, the close will happen sooner. And we'll be putting a delay on the gear doors. So, on the Z close, they're gonna have a 4-second delay, and then it'll close like that. So just like with the opening sequence, but just reversed. And worked out way too smoothly. Cool. Next up is just the bomb bay. So let's just go to back up here. I do need to do the flaps. But we'll add in our bomb bay next. So we'll go and add in 7, then 8. And we're going to say bomb bay open. Bomb bay close. And these will get defined with the animation attachments when we go to do weapon systems and all that stuff. But essentially we will just take this, take that one, boom. It's going to be pretty easy. It's just going to be the generic Z opening and close. We need just the name of the doors. There we go. There's that. Change those to 2. Change that to 2. Change that to 2. And that is the bomb bay doors. Didn't need to do anything fancy for that one. And we need it to close. So we just put in our close commands. Refresh. Open. And close. Yeah, because I'm reusing the same animation numbers. There's that delay already in there. If I just wanted to close straight away, that won't be too hard. AC base. But yeah, I was just being lazy and I was reusing the same animation codes. And you can have multiple steps with your animations. Like for example, on my A4 model, it has to do a twist. The landing gear, when it comes out, it does a full twist. Don't know if I'll go. Here we go. So when it extends the gear, everything comes out, it deploys, and does a twist. And that is a 3-parter. Trying to do it as a 2-parter, it just was not translating the coordinates very well. Ooh. I might need to move back. Something to look at in the future. Huh. I'll have to check the painter, see what's going on with that little splotch. Alright, next up is the flaps. And the flaps will work basically just like the X rotation. So I'll just call it rotation 2. It's going to be starting from 0, and we're going to be rotating, let's just say 30 degrees for now. We'll set up our close positions, and there does not need to be little delays on this. It doesn't have to be 5 seconds. I will need to, I don't know how, but I would have to go and try and find information as to what is the real world time for flaps deploying on a Canberra bomber. Alright. So, whoops. So, I want that. I'm gonna pop that one in there. I got 4 sets of flaps to go and put in. And I need the right ones. Yep. And I just copy and paste that into there, and I just need to change that to close. What do I do? Take off. We're going the wrong way. Easy fix. There we go. That one's looking a little bit janky, but that's something I have to fix up with the actual, with the mesh. So that's something that will be happening in here. It should be okay, but I'll address that in a minute. Oh, I forgot I had this door open. Oh yeah. I must have just forgotten that I had the eraser tool going. And I should have changed this. I forgot to change the title of the episode. Let's fix that while I'm looking at it. what might have happened was when I was cleaning out the engine exhaust, I might have accidentally deleted it there. Alright, those are now fixed. And that should retract. And I'm losing frames because Substance Painter and C-Power do not like running at the same time. Okay, well, I'll close this, because I don't need this anymore. And oh, yep, there we go, frames are going back up again. And yeah, so pretty much everything that's needed for this thing has been set up now. For its animations, that is. Except for the only thing I gotta do now is just copy that one. That's takeoff. And we need our landing flaps, takeoff flaps, and that's everything done. And to fix that, well, generally speaking, to fix that, I need to want to be on C. I need flap 1 and I need flap 2. And I'm just going to center this about as good as I can. Rebalance all this. Make sure we always keep material turned off. Let's go and get the OBJ rigger. Our output. Get a camber bomber. We want to go down to our flaps, so left flap 2. And right flap 2. Yeah, I don't know what it is. It's struggling to place it. It's done a good job on everything else, Object Rigger, but when it comes to just this one here, it's not able to do it. Double check. I'll double check my my example model. Get rid of that. I mean, I won't say it's in a perfect position. But I don't see anything particularly wrong with it. I don't know. Maybe that's something I can go and talk to Abe about. Ah, Wonka. So, that bug is being caused by the Wessex standalone mod. And the reason why that's happening is because it doesn't have some of the other stuff going on. So what you need to do is just put the Melbourne mod above it. It doesn't. You only need the Wessex mod for mods that have actually included the Wessex in it, which from my knowledge is nothing. It's just loaded onto a Sacramento as a little meme thing, and that was it. To my knowledge, nobody else has used the Wessex, has modded the Wessex onto any other craft yet. That's still separating a little bit. I'll be honest with you, man. I prefer all of that earlier era shit as well. You know, having been a massive World War II fan for such a long time, when it comes to all the more modern day stuff, it's just, I don't know how to say, man. You're just seeing missiles flying here, there, and everywhere, and it's really just comes down to who has more. When it comes to the older stuff, say the 50s, 60s, and 70s, things are a lot more dicier. There's more, the dice rolls are just more swingy. And I do like that. Something I need to add. Because I don't like that final position. Well, there is actually a modder who was working on it. I don't know how they're going at the moment. Um, I haven't heard anything from. There's a lot of people. There's a lot of a lot of the modern community is kind of slowing down a lot now. Um, and I think we won't see the next pickup till um, after the mid-year. And that's mostly just down to the fact that the devs have made the call that they need to focus on the AI and everything, which is, understandable and all that stuff. In the meantime, for the modders, we have gone through and we've used pretty much all the tools that are there. So what we really need is just a little bit more functionality added into the game. Um, Look, that's not a high priority, and the devs have told me that yeah, that it's not a high priority thing. Currently, Sealifter works, and it gives us, some. It gives us the option to go and bring in models that we can use. And in my mind, it's not that. Like, it's not a difficult thing to install. People do get stuck. Um, my simple guide, I cannot make any more simpler. Um, but generally, it's just more of people. A lot of people just don't have the experience with modding, like how it was 10, 15 years ago, when there was a lot of unzipping, a lot of folders you had to go find and modify and all this other stuff. As yeah, so these days we're a little bit spoiled. We don't need to really play around with files and folders as much anymore. Modding these days is a lot more contained. And we're very fortunate that with CPower modding is extremely accessible. Like these INI programs. Unity by itself does not natively have an INI handler. So the devs had to code in an INI or notepad reader, as you want to call it, into the actual scripting of the game. And that is extremely powerful for modders. That is the whole reason why we've got such extreme kit bashes. From my understanding, Seabase is yes, they're going to do aerial refueling, but it'll be a while. Is another thing that's on the low priority thing. Same thing with underway sea replenishment and all that stuff. They want to implement all that stuff. And most likely, going by the scripting stuff I've seen, it's going to be along the lines of a formation animation sequence in terms of how they're going to handle it. Which is fine. The only thing that's currently not in the scripts is like resource transferring. There's nothing in the game to do, like there's nothing really besides ammunition count for resource handling. So I imagine it's something that we'll see when they get closer to eventually working on the dynamic campaign. In the meantime, I'm looking for a scripter. Reason being is because we have Anchor Chain, and Anchor Chain gives us the ability to interact with, load up our own scripts. And doing that, like to set it up, well, easiest example is Sealifter. Sealifter is supported by Anchor Chain. Without Anchor Chain, Sealifter would not load. And without Sealifter, we could not have custom models and stuff load up. I can't answer that one, Wonka. I can answer in the fact that when it comes to a lot of the British stuff, we have. Are they installed on this at the moment? No. We do have a lot of mods coming up that's going to be covering. That's going to be covering the British side of things. It's not in my. Hang on. Might be in here. Nope, that just broke. Okay, anyways, I've got a Type 22, a Leander, and a Rothsea frigate model, all currently in the works. They're going to take a little bit though. Yeah, I especially want to go and get around to building the River class Leander. Just because, I don't know, I just like the way it's shaped and everything. But, oh dear. If we go to workshop, go to content, this is Anchor Chain, Sealifter is normally, there it is. Yeah, it's just got, that's all that's in Sealifter. But essentially, yeah, so Anchor Chain is reading the Sealifter, and then this little thing here is just saying, hey, Sealifter, you can also check the workshop directories, and then when we go back into here, part of the install instructions is we gotta go and add we gotta go and add the BepIn the BepInEx files into here. This is the preloader stuff, and that is the actual general core of Sealifter, which is used in a whole range of different other Unity programs. Somebody with a lot more intelligence than I have went and put it all together some time ago, and AGM was able to take it and reconfigure it to work with CPower. So yeah, so you can pretty much just thank anything to do with like all the model importing and a good chunk of the modding, you can thank AGM and not another Ave, because without those two we would not have anything. We would only have kit bashes, that's it. Oh dear. So if I just copy all that in here, I have to continuously reconfigure my user folder every now and then just for testing purposes. Yeah. I can't give you all the technical stuff how it all works. It is essentially a three-stage process. Um, the workshop loads Anchor Chain. Anchor Chain loads the Sea Lifter resource loader from the workshop folder, which then activates the preloader side. It's a three-step chain of events, basically, to make it all work, and it works. So, if I go back, reload everything once again. I've been very focused on primarily just building models lately, so a lot of my folders are in a bit of disarray at the moment. Oh lord. The other day I was testing something for I struggled to pronounce his name. Let's go back here. Petruvius? Petrovius? Basically, the guy who made the Invincible class carrier. This is his well, Dutch model. Again, another name that I can't say. And ages ago, I modded the I was playing around with stuff, trying to make essentially a spawnable transport. And what I did was essentially I found out that on one of the ships in here, it's one of the auxiliary ships or landing ships, wherever they are in the list. I think yeah, Charleston. Here we go. So Charleston, and I'm gonna have to completely reload Sea Power soon because I can see I've got no frames at the moment. But in the Charleston, if we go into the loadouts, there's this amphibious assault loadout. And I had this cool idea of I could animate all this. This wouldn't be that hard to do. Except I would actually have to go through I would actually have to go and modify the actual model itself to make it all work, because all these parts are one thing. But anyway, so that's how I discovered these little landing boats are a separate submodel. And that's it, they're a single piece. So I went and played around with the torpedoes. And I totally forgot about this till the other day when I came across that stuff. Alright, sorry. Yeah, so I was playing around with the ship Mark 46 torpedo, and I just changed the mesh to this, and I set its depth to 0 in order to try to get it to basically skim the surface. is the incomplete Type 22. And I think it was this one. Yep. So if I go into here and we get the torpedo, I bring out the map. Boom. Oh. Okay. That's interesting. I don't understand why they're exploding. Um, but they were extremely slow torpedoes that would just travel across the surface. Huh. The Melbourne will get an update later. I do want to do a 1960s config, a 1971 config, and then um, then a potential 1986 config, a theoretical, theoretical configuration of it. It's gonna be a while before that happens though, because for the 1960s config I need to build Sea Venoms and I need to build a Gannet, and that will take a bit. Oh, these Seawolf launchers are fully modelled with opening doors and everything. We have a Seawolf missile in the way inside. Yeah, so I've handed this over to Longbow, who is just working on it in their spare time. And the Leander, well, actually, I was using as my test base for the Seawolf system. CSC base. Built a quad launcher for the Seacat. I use this just to test out the Seawolf. But this is essentially a batch 1 Leander, which has a Wasp inside, which was this model here was built by Petruvius as well. I did build my own Wasp. I was not happy with it. And I was also I came down pretty sick at the time, so yeah, it all works. Yeah, so Petruvius finished it all up for me. And it's got a bunch of different weapon configs and stuff. Yeah, they've been an amazing help. this Leander is, I want to say it's mostly done. I think there's only a few things left to finish it off. I think it is just the hitbox, the collision box. Yeah, it doesn't have the proper collision box in there just yet. Oh, I'll have to fix that later. Don't think the batch 2 is set up just yet. It's getting there. It needs a bit of love. No, so that's a different mod entirely. So that one is all handled by Petrudis, and that one he built for his Greek Navy mod. A lot of these assets are all going to be going into Falklands War era mod. It's just going to take a while to build. So we've already got the Invincible Carrier. That whole project is part of this Falklands War mod. Hermes is in the works. It's gonna take me a while because I'm just sort of recovering from doing Canberra. Not Canberra, Melbourne. I just needed to do something else for a little bit. Main difference between the Hermes and the Centaur and the Majestic is the side lift. They took the center lift out and moved it to the side, whereas Majestic has them both in the middle. Also, Mitch, the guy who put up the early Burke mod, he is currently in the process of doing a Colossus mod, and him being basically a CAD engineer, he's been teaching himself how to use Blender, and he has followed more or less the same processes, the same build process he does with CAD work, and he's been applying it with Blender. And he was sharing with me the other day, like all of his reference pictures, actual design plans, the whole works, and it's insane what he's got stashed away. But yeah, largely, so general shape of Hermes is kind of done. I just need to do a lot of tidy up and work on the bridge section and all that stuff. And yeah. So I might continue working on this soon. See how we go. I do need to focus on a lot of study stuff at the moment. Let's fix looking. I haven't quite captured that little, that sort of T-bone curve yet on there. I'm gonna have to add some more detail here to try to get that sweep. I didn't do too bad with Melbourne. This is a completely new model. I was going to reuse the Melbourne model for Hermes. I brought up the plans, laid it out, and there is just too many things that are different. They're very similar, you know, there's a lot of similarities, but they have got a lot different to them. But yeah, I was planning on doing, I think it's a 1965 configuration of Hermes before we go to her refit, which happened around 75. That's when they put the ski ramp in. But that will take a while because I have to build aircraft, like the Buccaneer and all that stuff. And I also want to build the Australian River class frigates. So that's our Rothry conversions and our 2 Leanders that we did. Also need to go through and do the Australian Adams class, the Perth class, which is not. Oh right, I forgot it's broken. Which just has a weather deck in the middle of it, and then the 2 Akara launchers. And we have a working Akara model now with launcher. So I just need to go and yeah, sort those out. But it's gonna take a little bit of time. Anyways, man, well, kinda. So there is the Royal Australian Ship mod. Last updated was in January though. So it's been a while. The mod creator for that one has, I'd say, like, basically their interest has, you know, shifted. But they'll probably come back to it a bit later. It's just a matter of, yeah, a lot of modders, are, like I said earlier, they're all slowing down. Interest is just moving around. Yeah, so modders are, they're all just slowing down. And it's just a natural cycle with not running out of interesting things to do. But he does have a perf class, and this was back from the early days when everything was all just kit bash. And this was even before we started playing around with Azeroth boxes and containers and all that other lovely stuff. But the main thing is to make this an accurate perf, all I need to do is extend this out to about here, and that is essentially going to be where the magazine, all that is kept for the Akara. Then there'll be two launchers, one here and one there, on either side, and that's it. And the whole firing and loading animation is going to be interesting to set up because, in essence, the whole process of loading the Akara was the launcher would turn and face the door, and it would be brought out on a rail, but first, and then loaded up onto the launcher like that. And it has two rooms, so it has the magazine, and it will go on a rail. It will move up into the next room, where they assemble the fins, and then it will go onto the launcher from there. And the British versions, the British wanted to have a bit more option with the playing around with like the payload. So they wanted to be able to just swap out the torpedo if it's faulty or if the missile's faulty, and swap it with a working version instead, or to be able to load it in the nuclear torpedo or slash depth charger, which, funny enough, where is it? Is it loaded? No. Oh, I don't have it all loaded. This would be out of date. Yeah, that's all out of date. But the depth chargers that I put on the S2 tracker, for example, they're not the right model. I built the nuclear depth charge. That is what the actual model of the nuclear depth chargers look like. And I've just left it because I have not got the motivation to go back and fix it yet. Yeah. Yeah. That one there, you might be waiting a while. Like, if you want a general time frame, well, I mean, look, so the Argentinians, they had one of them. Pretty sure they before they got that Colossus carrier from the Dutch, they had a carrier before that. Let me just bring it up on Google. Apparently they had two carriers. They had one before they got their Colossus. I don't know, maybe... Where did I see that? I think it was Navipedia. Happened to find it on that. So, I don't know if this is accurate, but before they got the De Mayo X Dutch carrier, they had a ship called Independencia, which was the ex-Warrior. Let's bring it all over here. Oh. Oh, okay. Right, it's one of those. Shit. The Spanish had a like one of these old light carriers. Not the ones from the Cleveland Hole. They had one from the oil tanker one. Um, which they kept going for a long time. A lot of these after World War II got converted into helicopter carriers. I, they they all got put into reserve, to be honest, but they brought out a lot of them later and loaded them up with helicopters. Hang on, they can't. Right. Oh, okay. So they had a Colossus at one point, and then they replaced it with another Colossus. When did they get rid of it? 1970. Is it the old config, or did they put the angled deck on? I wonder. Excuse me. It's hard to say, but potentially they put maybe a 4-degree angle on that. Well, there you go. Potentially, they could have had 2 carriers, but that would have, they would have had to have done a lot more work. I mean, that's another hypothetical, is that they could have had 2 Colossus class carriers during the Falklands War. But yeah, and that is something that I know some of the guys I'm working with, they want to explore. They want to have hypothetical situations in there and all that. What am I looking for? Alright, so I should have the Mirage up soon enough. Got her in her Australian skin at the moment. But yeah, this is definitely going to be featuring in the Falkland War. Yeah. Alrighty. I need to start heading off to bed. So it was good chatting with you. If you see me on again over the week, feel free to pop on by. I do also sometimes go onto the modding board Discord. I might be in the chat, the voice channels on there from time to time. But yeah, you have a good night.